Okay, so how far have I sailed? Where have I been and how did I do it? These were the most common questions you guys asked, so I'm more than happy to share with you my experience. So in all, I've sailed around 2,500 miles, which as the crow flies is the distance from London to Cape Verde. So quite a lot of miles. In total I've done a mixture of boat deliveries. I've also done my own boat, of course, and also been on friends. So that's how I did it. Behind me is Babs Mill Park and Lake, which is where I actually used to sail as a young boy. They used to actually have a boathouse just here. So today I'm going to break it up in chapters. Before each chapter I'm going to do a course of where I've done on the maps. You know, take it with a pinch of salt because I just use Navionics just to select the areas. And I'm also going to show footage of my trips as well. So I'm going to do it with the longest trip by duration, the longest trip by miles, the longest trip in my own boat, and the biggest boat that I've sailed. So firstly, good morning, good evening, good afternoon, and good night, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, and an extra special welcome if you're subscribed. I had a very interesting email from YouTube the other day saying that I've got enough subscribers now to fill a jumbo jet, so thank you very much if you are one of those people. I'm also interested in your comments, questions and feedback, and I'll get back to you if I can. So for newcomers, basically I do a lot of outdoor adventure stuff like hiking, camping, and of course a lot of boat related stuff. So I do have a question for you guys. If you're a new owner or become a new boat owner, what do you think that you've missed? So I'm going to put together a video of things that people might not have thought about just before they bought the boat. For example, if they've got enough time in their lives to actually go and enjoy the boat, because as we know, marinas are just full of boats that just never move. So I really want to kind of put a video out there just so that people kind of understand the time concept of things, and also the health and anything that you can kind of contribute. The longest by duration was around about a month. So we started in Cardiff, which is at the top right of the map, and made our way down to the Scilly Isles, down to the bottom left there. So we basically did the same route there and back, with the exception of number 12 and 13, where we missed them on the way back. Just to give you a point where we stopped off. So the Scilly Isles is where we spent about 2.5 to 3 weeks, but we also stopped at St Ives, Padstow, Lundy, Uxbridge and Cardiff. The Scilly Isles, which are described as the Caribbean of England, is 28 miles off the coast of Cornwall and has 5 main islands: St Mary's, Tresco, St Martin's, Briars and St Angus. We anchored here the whole time, so we didn't pay for anything, which was brilliant, with the exception of just going to get our laundry done on one of the main islands and going to restaurants. That there is Cromwell's Castle, which is on Tresco. The yellow boat there on the left is an Endurance 37, which is the boat that we went on, and we also met a friend down there as well from our yacht club. Now, we had the most amazing weather for the whole month. I don't even think it rained, but if you can make it there, absolutely 100% recommend it. When we sailed there, we went straight from Padstow down to Land's End and then cut across the shipping channel. On the way back, we stopped at for St Ives, which is very nice, and I recommend going in a car or however you want to get there, but I don't recommend it by boat. So we had to go onto the River Hayling, which dries out. We were on a full keel boat. You have to grab some chains off the wall to moor up, and as it dries out, you need to basically have weights on one side of the boat. So I wouldn't recommend it, and I wouldn't go in my boat either. So going both ways to and from the Scilly Isles, we did stop off at Padstow, and when I did the Catamaran Delivery, we also temporarily stopped there. So to get into the actual Padstow harbour, you got to go there 2 hours either side of high tide, and you don't want to cross the Doom Bar before 3 hours either. But Padstow is a nice little harbour town, very nice, and if you just want to drive there, it's great. On the way down, we stopped at Lundy, which again I didn't even know existed. It was there, but it's an island between England and Wales, and that's it from the water. So this was filmed from my own boat when I went there in the summer. It's actually a nature reserve with a pub on top of the hill, and it has an average population of 28 people. On the left there, that is my boat from when we went there. There it is. So you can see it's pretty steep getting up there. And there's the important pub there. So if you ever pop over there, then very nice. Check it out. Bottom right of the map, you've got Hayling Island. So that's where my friend brought his catamaran from. and we delivered it to Cardiff. So along the way we stopped at Falmouth because with some bad weather. We temporarily stopped off at Padstow just for a coffee and just to wait for the tide to turn. But yeah, it was a super nice experience. A few of us from the yacht club delivered the boat, which was great. We've seen dolphins along the way, as you can see on the screen. Now, the original plan was to go non-stop from Hayling Island to Cardiff, mostly because we had a kind of a long weekend to do it. So the other guys have real jobs, like 9 to 5, and one of our crew members works on the big kind of freight ships. So the weather did turn like a day and a half into the trip, so we ended up having to stop off at Falmouth for kind of refuge. So, of course, we went on a pub crawl, which was a lot of fun. And then when we left Falmouth, it was still pretty rough. I mean, you know, although the boat is pretty big, we were still getting waves coming into the cockpit. But when we went round Land's End, it all kind of cleared up and kind of went down to what the situation is on screen right now. Now, the channel's fairly new, so just let me know what you want to see and I'll try and tailor it to that. So, you know, I can't go sailing 24/7, and this year I am trying to do my day skipper. So, despite doing 2,500 miles, I've not actually got any qualifications. You don't really need them in the UK. The only one that you really need is the VHF radio. So, if you ever get in trouble, you know how to use it, basically. Now, I did want to do my qualifications a little bit sooner, but if you've watched my other videos, you'll know that I was in an accident before I brought the boat, and then during lockdown, I didn't really get any income support or anything. And then after lockdown, I ended up having a knee operation. So I'm actually quite surprised that I managed to do this much sailing, to be honest. So when I was putting the maps together, I was just like, whoa, okay, this is pretty interesting. The longest on my own boat was from Cardiff, which is the top right, to Lundy on the left there, and then number 4 is where Crevelly is, and then number 7 is where Watchet is. So I basically did that loop on a long weekend. Now on screen, this is my boat, so Jeanneau Sonata C40, which was made in 2002. Got some stats there, and then if you want to follow me on socials, you also have them there. So size-wise, it's a similar size to a single-decker bus. And here's what the inside is. So it basically has everything you need in there. Toilet, shower, there's 2 cabins in the back which are just under a double-sized berth. The table there drops down to make another berth, and then in the front you've got the V-berth. So it's rated for 8 people to go offshore. But yeah, I'm super happy with it. I mean, I just like hanging out on it, to be honest. I've had quite a few other people sail the boat with me on like day trips and stuff, and they're actually quite surprised of how well it handles, how quick it is as well. So, you know, it's not unusual to go 10, 11 knots when you've got the full sails out. So it is kind of like a racer cruiser, I'd say. I mean, most people, when they're shopping for a boat, you know, they're looking for like full keels and they're looking at all the sail data and everything, and they kind of shun production boats, which is what mine is. But I really like it. I've been on other production boats as well, and I like them too. So they just tick a lot of boxes, you know. Now, I did do a boat tour video, and I've also done a video of how much the boat costs. So once you're done watching this, you're more than welcome to watch those. For people who don't own boats, so you can see no one's steering there, they have something called auto helm. So basically what you do is you just press a little button and it will hold to that compass course. So it won't account for tides or anything, so you kind of got to watch that. And then this is Lundy again. Now, if you're going from Cardiff towards Swansea, that direction, go 2 hours before high tide because you get the tide pushing you out. So we have a range of up to 14 meters of tide from Cardiff. This is Crevelly on the screen. Now, we only made it to the pub in the town, which is just pretty much behind me, but apparently it's quite nice. Now, we've only been there temporarily just for like changing of the tides and so on, so that's why I don't really explore it that much. And here's an example of it's not all unicorns, sunsets and rainbows. But yeah, here we go, beating against the tide. And then this is a picture from Watchet Marina. So I've only started YouTube just for like a little bit of a hobby really. So I did lose a lot of footage when I had my gaming laptop repaired. So rather than them repair it, they actually just sent me a brand new one. Can't really complain too much because they did it for free. So, and here's a little compilation. So left is in Bristol. In the middle is sailing there, so we hit 11 knots, and then on the right is a trip to Oxwich Bay. And because I'm a pro while no one's looking, there's me steering with my feet and drinking a beer. So cheers. And there's a super nice calm anchorage at Uxbridge Bay, which was my last trip. Now, the biggest boat that I ever sailed was the Challenge Wales boat. Now, a week after I did the Catamaran Delivery, I was meant to look for work, and I came across a post for the opportunity to come and sail this. So obviously I took it. Now, that was in Fowey, so basically they have to get it serviced down on the south coast, and they needed a delivery crew to come back. So yeah, it was very different from the booze cruise that I'd been on the week before. So this was a bit more, because it's commercial and it's a bit more organised. You know, it was very much to the book. But basically, we were sailing 3 hours on, 3 hours off. So it's literally power nap sail, power nap sail, power nap sail. I think we did it in a total of about 24 hours, and that was non-stop. Now, they are a charity and you can go and sail with them. So you'd have to check out their website, which I'll leave the link below. So if you wanted to have a little bit of a go, you can do. But my understanding of the boats is they get raced around the world professionally, and then they give them to charity after that. So, and here I am, sunset. And then there's another one when the sun's out and it's nice and warm. But yeah, I had a very nice time. The guys were very nice. So I definitely recommend you taking this opportunity to go and do it. But Fowey or Fowey, however you pronounce it down south, that's what it looks like. It's very nice. I did go back there on a small little holiday. There's little chalets there that you can rent out as well. So yeah, check it out. But yeah, thank you very much for watching, guys. And yeah, have a nice day.